It's day 34, 12,297 verses read, so that means there's only 18,805 left. So you finish the book of 2 Chronicles, you flip over the page to Ezra, and 70 years have passed. During those 70 years, the Israelites are captives in Babylon, and at the end of that 70 years, King Cyrus decides that it's his turn to build a temple in Jerusalem. The crazy thing about this is that Isaiah actually predicts it will happen 150 years earlier, and we'll see that on day 52. What? How the heck does that happen? And King Cyrus gives permission for any remaining Israelites across the Persian Empire to go back to Jerusalem to do the job. This is the beginning of the comeback we were wondering about yesterday. So they rebuild the altar and the temple, but it's kind of a bittersweet occasion. In 1 Chronicles 29, the people give 170 metric tons of gold to build the temple, but here in Ezra, they can only afford to give 500 kilograms. And the reason the old boys are weeping in chapter 3 is that we saw in day 31 when they dedicated the temple, fire fell from heaven and the glory of the Lord filled the whole place, but this just doesn't happen here in Ezra. Then to add insult to injury, a new king called Xerxes is appointed, and he hears that they're trying to rebuild the temple. And he looks through his history books and he sees that Jerusalem has got a record of rebelling against kings, and he commands them to stop. Then 16 years pass before King Darius reverses that decision, and I think that's got something to do with the crazy thing that happens with the pit of lions on day 63. Darius is so serious about nobody opposing the rebuilding of the temple that he writes a law that says that if anybody does oppose it, he has to be impaled on a beam of his own house. It's the 7th chapter before Ezra appears in his own book. What a diva. He's sent by King Artaxerxes to go and teach everybody in Jerusalem about how to obey the law of God. And he even says that if anybody doesn't obey the law of God, then they have to be punished with death, banishment, confiscation of property, or imprisonment. That's a Youth for Christ policy as well, by the way. When Ezra gets to Jerusalem, he discovers that the people there have married women from the surrounding nations, and he's so sad about it, he literally pulls his own hair out. This is because they've broken a law from Deuteronomy 7 on day 13. They all stand around in the rain and say sorry and prepare to send away their wives and children. Tune in tomorrow for Biblical DIY SOS.